So Dr. Badrul Hisham will deliver a talk titled Vaccine Development and Manufacturing. Before that, let me briefly introduce Dr. Badrul Hisham. Dr. Badrul Hisham Abdul Rahman is currently the Head of Research and Development at Pharmaniaga. He is responsible in spearheading product development activities, including product formulation, process scale-up, technology transfer, and the establishment of new manufacturing facilities. He received his PhD from Johns Hopkins University, USA, and MSc and Advanced Diploma from the University College London, UCL, in the UK, in the fields of biochemical engineering and biotechnology. A former lecturer in the Department of Bioprocess Engineering, University Technology Malaysia, Dr. Badrul Hisham is still active academically, serving as industrial advisors and co-supervisors to research students in his fields of expertise. So with Sinovac, hailed as one of the earliest vaccines for Malaysia, I'm sure there are exciting things in store for us here. So now, let's hear from Dr. Badrul Hisham. Silakan, Doctor.
Thank you so much, Prof. Asha. Assalamualaikum. Good morning, everyone. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
All right, great. Because my slide is actually controlled by team at UiTM, so I will just request for the next slide, and when I need it, yeah, to proceed. Okay, thank you very much again for inviting Pharmaniaga to share our experience in vaccine development and manufacturing. Yeah. Next slide, please. Okay, as per what has been described by Dr. Jaslina earlier, Malaysian government is procuring COVID-19 vaccine from so far 5 companies, yeah, from all over the world. From Pfizer, they are committed to buy it from all these companies: Pfizer, AstraZeneca, Sinovac, Sputnik V, and CanSino. And with the amount, more than about 50% of the 32 million population will be receiving vaccine from Pfizer. Okay, we cannot choose. The other will be from AstraZeneca. Sinovac is actually from China, different technology. Sputnik V and CanSino is another 2. So far, only the first 3 registration has been approved under IMPAR A. We heard in detail from Dr. Jaslina's talk earlier the requirement for the vaccine to be registered in Malaysia. Okay, but so far, all of these vaccines are actually meant for adults. Yeah, population in Malaysia with the age of 18 and above. I'll go through details on product development, clinical trial, and the registration a bit later. Yeah. Then government are targeting at least 80% of the population, including Malaysian and non-Malaysian, to achieve herd immunity. Yeah, at least 80% of the population of people in Malaysia to be vaccinated and will get the effect of herd immunity. So the government is actually committed for 26.5 million vaccination. Yeah. All right. Next, please. Okay, those highlighted with pink, the status, yeah, the 3 products that have been registered, approved in Malaysia. Well, we never really heard much anything from Gamalaya and also CanSino, but government is committed to procure a significant amount of vaccine from them. And Pharmaniaga is actually a strategic partner with Sinovac. Looking at this different vaccine, we know that there are different technology behind it. So this is under a pandemic condition. Basically, any company, any vaccine company will start developing any products quickly because we are under emergency use to have vaccine to protect the people of the entire world. So Sinovac is a company that is known to use real virus, but in activated form as a vaccine formulation. But for Sinovac, this technology is rather mature. This is a common technology that has been used for various other products as well, such as polio and hepatitis A. In terms of dose, 2-dose vaccine, and for this particular pandemic, COVID-19, it was recommended to use it at least as 2 doses with 14 days apart. Yeah. The advantage of Sinovac is the formula, the normal vaccine. Like any other vaccine that has been developed much earlier, they are very stable and can be kept at 2 to 3 degrees Celsius. So in terms of process, in terms of logistics, in terms of distribution, this is very simple. So the government also do not have much problem. But it was highlighted related to the efficacy. I will go detail what does it mean by different numbers on efficacy, but I'll just go through this first. In Turkey, in general population, it was reported at 83.5%, in terms of efficacy. In Indonesia, it was reported at 65.2%. That study is still ongoing. But in special population, of which not that many companies dare to do this, because during the pandemic COVID-19, Brazil decided to have one group of 13,000 volunteers. They are all hospital workers. They are doctors, nurses, and those who are actually dealing daily with COVID-19 patients. So they want to see the efficacy. How good is this vaccine? So the 100% of the volunteers are all hospital workers dealing with COVID-19. So the result is 50.4%. And this is above the WHO requirement of 50%. Yeah. Pfizer, on the other hand, and also Moderna, which is not part of the Malaysian vaccine supply program, using latest technology, which is mRNA. These are totally new vaccine. They are also to be used for 2 doses to achieve good vaccine development program. And they're recommended to have it 28 days apart. But this DNA mRNA technology is super sensitive. It has to be kept at -70 degrees Celsius. So the processing, logistics, and administration is a bit tricky. Yeah? Somehow, their global public efficacy was a lot higher. It was recorded and published at 95%. Yeah? And they never conducted the special group clinical trial program at phase 3. For Gamaleya, CanSino, and AstraZeneca, they're using slightly older technology, proven, with 5 to 7 years of technology proven in terms of safety and efficacy. But they use adenovirus as a vector to deliver the RNA into the patient as the vaccination formulation. Yeah? Generally, they're also using 2 doses, except for CanSino. Then 3 weeks or 4 weeks apart in terms of the first and second dose. Adenovirus formulation are also not very stable. They have to be kept generally below -20 degrees Celsius. Yeah, but if they were to put it into refrigerated temperature, the product is only stable for 7 months. Yeah, and in terms of efficacy, ranging from 70 to 91.6% for Gamaleya. Yeah, and AstraZeneca has just started their phase 3 trial in special group population, which is healthcare professional. Yeah, they also would want to see how effective their vaccine in giving protection to these particular frontliners dealing with COVID patients. Yeah, okay, next slide, please. Okay, we have heard from Dr. Jaslina. In order to develop and to register a vaccine is not easy. It will take years. Yeah. And she rightly mentioned about the fast-track registration, emergency use, and normal registration. For COVID-19 pandemic, we need the vaccine urgently. We need to protect the population of the world. So we need the product to be developed and registered. But if you want to look at the overall overview of development cycle, we start with vaccine R&D. We cannot skip preclinical studies. We cannot reach on humans. So it has to be done at animal level before we proceed into human and testing it phase 1, phase 2, and phase 3. Combining all data from the R&D, from animal studies, from phase 1, 2, and 3, then only we can do the registration, submitting all those to MPRA. Yeah? MPRA is one of the most stringent authority in the world, and we are proud to have that because we are protecting the health and life of population in Malaysia. Yeah, they have very high standard, very stringent. So you also heard earlier that Dr. Jaslina mentioned without complete data, even at phase 3, they will not entertain the registration. Yeah. So far, like I said, in Malaysia, all 3 companies have successfully registered their product. One from Pfizer, another one from Sinovac, another one from AstraZeneca. Sinovac is our strategic partner. For Sinovac, there are 2 registration types. One that is the full registration based on the manufacturing done in China. But the arrangement with the Malaysian government is for Pharmaniaga to receive technology transfer, bring in the technology to Pharmaniaga. We do the tech transfer, manufacture it locally, it's like local assembly, and then confirm all the validation requirement that we make it locally in Malaysia. In terms of quality safety, all the same as per what was developed and manufactured in China. So you will see 2 registration pathway for Sinovac. One, 100% done, manufactured in China. Another one for Malaysian consumption, all will be manufactured in Pharmaniaga, in Puchong, in our plant in Puchong. So we are proud to share this technology. That's the whole reason why I have a slide with video at the end, just to share with everyone that what we actually do in Malaysia. This is the first human vaccine manufactured in the country. Imagine that we in Malaysia, we do not even have a vaccine manufacturer in Malaysia. Yeah. Okay. Go back to this development cycle. We know the COVID-19 pandemic started in early 2020. Okay. The first registration that we heard approved was in January. Phase 3 clinical trial was completed announced by especially the Western countries in December. Meaning, from the development to preclinical, phase 1, phase 2, and 3 are all within 9-10 months. So they do not have enough data to support full registration. Even people are still talking about how long is this protection going to be? Do I need another booster a few years later? So those are the information that none of the vaccine manufacturers are able to answer. I'll share that later. Yeah. So like what Dr. Jaslina mentioned earlier, the current approval are for the emergency use. They are approved for 1 year. Should we need to extend another year, we have to appeal or to apply for another year of approval up to 3 years. Beyond that, we must submit full data to support clinical trial to confirm the efficacy, safety, and efficacy, and quality of the vaccine. Yeah, of which a lot of data are now concurrently under compilation during the development and also post vaccination program at various countries. So that data is important to support the safety and efficacy of the product usage, of which within 3 years, 2, 3, 4 years, maybe all companies have gathered enough data to support full registration. Okay. All right. Next slide, please. For phase 1 for vaccine development within a few months, this is data from Sinovac, of which they have isolated 11 strain of COVID-19 strain from China, from UK, from Italy, Switzerland, and a few other countries. They have quickly developed, characterized, and characterized the virus to develop the formulation. Yeah. So just to prove, the data was now published in Science, yeah, Science on 6 May 2020. These data are now available online. For those who are interested to study further, you can Google and read it. Yeah. Next. So basically, Sinovac are actually using a whole virus grown in cell culture, propagated in bioreactor. Once they generate enough, the virus are inactivated 2 times with 2 different chemicals to confirm 100% are all inactivated. Okay. Upon a series of purification, the vaccine, the virus, that virus or particle are actually used in the formula to generate antibody production in the vaccine. Once the antibodies achieve certain level, especially after 2 doses of vaccination, it will give good protection to protect us from getting the disease. Yeah. Okay. We talked earlier about various different technology. Some companies are using just the spike proteins, some are using envelope and different parts of the virus as the vaccine formula. But in the case of Sinopharm, maybe even Sinovac, and a few other vaccine players are using traditional method, of which they use the entire virus particle as the vaccine formula, inactivated. Yeah. All right. Next. Okay, related to the preclinical work that was done, before we proceed into human, it's very critical to confirm it in animal, including the animal toxicology, anaphylaxis, animal immunogenicity, animal challenge. We want to make sure that at what dose is safe to be injected into animal, and then proportionate that to human based on the weight. Yeah, single dose toxicity and toxicity in rat was tested to confirm that formula and dose is safe. Okay, not only safe, that we also look at different dose content amount. Yeah, per dose. Yeah, lower range, medium range, higher range. Not only to confirm the toxicity, but we want also to ensure that the dose able to elicit immune response, developing enough antibody to give protection. Yeah. They also repeated the dose toxicity into higher animal, such as monkey. We also look at the toxicity on the reproductive organ, to confirm that in human, we don't want, upon the injection of any vaccine formula, it will affect on your genotoxicity and reproductivity organ. So you want to confirm. So before we test it on human, it was confirmed in rats, and mouse. Okay. Another aspect that people are always worrying about taking vaccine is the serious effect on anaphylaxis. Yeah, was tested even in animal first before we proceed and further tests in human at phase 1, 2, and 3. Okay. And also complies for this particular product. Animal immunogenicity is the most important for any vaccine to show proof that the vaccine formula essentially works, able to elicit enough antibody upon dose regime and the days between the boost. Yeah, so it was a dose escalating immunogenicity study done in 2 animal species, and also with and without adjuvant to confirm the formula is actually working. Yeah. And even those monkey that were developed or injected with the formula vaccine, they were challenged by exposing them with the real life virus, COVID-19. So they were vaccinated and then exposed with the live COVID-19 to confirm that this particular monkey, when they were vaccinated complete with 2 doses, they are able not to get infection by COVID-19. Yeah. So these are all done in clinical trial phase. Yeah. Preclinical trial phase in animal. Okay. It was done as per WHO guidelines in GLP lab. Yeah. These are all important to confirm that the data generated are able to be accepted by MPRA. Okay. Next slide. Okay, before I talk further on the vaccine, let's just share about this, what is infection and what is disease. A lot of people are talking about, if I'm being vaccinated, can I still get infected? Same thing, I would like to explain it here. If we breathe the air that is contaminated with COVID-19 virus, we breathe the air and the virus will start sticking to our epithelial cell in our lung, yeah? Could be in our throat and then eventually gets into our lung cell. And then for the first few days, we will get like flu-like symptom, yeah? This is an early infection phase where you get the virus infection, the virus started to infect the cell and about to spread into target organ. We have like sore throat, we have flu, we have chill and things like that, yeah? Then once the virus spread into other cells, yeah, we started progressing into disease, the so-called disease. This is happening on day 3 to 4. We start getting the infection symptoms, yeah? And further into day 5 to 6, you need medical care, yeah? Further, for those who are not strong, they may need intensive care. And they need hospitalization, they may need oxygen, then to certain cases, they may need intubation, yeah? But to confirm if they are actually infected by COVID-19, of course, we have to perform PCR test, which is biochemical assay. Yeah. All right. This is a concept. Next. Okay. In clinical trial, unlike the pharmaceutical drugs, for instance, we are developing anti-diabetic drugs. Yeah. When it comes to clinical trial, we employ the volunteers of diabetic patients. They have the condition, meaning with different dose of drug, we will look at the response. Easy. But in vaccine, you're recruiting healthy volunteers. You don't even want them to be infected anyway. So the study is different. So this is where a lot of people got confused when it comes to the efficacy. Yeah. So in vaccine study, we employ healthy volunteers, yeah, as volunteers to be part of the study. Half of the population will receive vaccine, half of them will receive placebo without them knowing it. Not even the medical doctors, not even the program managers of the vaccination study. Yeah, it was done in a very transparent manner. It was randomized placebo and all controlled independently. Yeah. Okay. For case definition, upon vaccination, either they receive vaccine or placebo, the volunteers will be monitored for any symptoms of COVID-19. Either they're getting fever or chill, whether they're having cough, difficulty of breathing, and so on. Yeah, the list goes on for more than this. Yeah, the symptoms of COVID-19 infection. But for Sinovac, they were recommending, due to the urgency of having a vaccine, to have it 14 days apart between the dose 1 and dose 2. Okay? But antibody will take some time to develop to give you protection. Okay? After completion of dose 2, which is day 28, only the case is observation start, meaning 28 days upon completion of 2 doses. If they are still getting the infection, only those numbers are counted in the efficacy study. Because between day 0 to day 28, the body is still not having enough antibody to give protection. So those who are getting the infection within the first 28 days will be eliminated from the study. Next. Next slide, please. Okay, move on to clinical trial data. Next. Okay, this is the tabulated summary of COVID-19 vaccine for Sinovac that was done in 5 countries. Phase 1 and 2 was done fully in China according to WHO guidelines. Phase 3 was done in Turkey, Brazil, Indonesia, and Chile. Okay, I'll go through the phase 1 data first. Yeah. Phase 1 very much to confirm the formula, the safety and efficacy of the formula. Yeah. Very much to test on a tolerable dose, looking at the various dose to confirm which one is safe enough to be administered and which dose is enough to give you protection. Yeah. They recruited, of course, phase 1, LDA and elderly first. Yeah. 177 volunteers were involved. The primary objective was to look at the vaccine safety. We cannot tolerate unsafety. So to confirm before we move into phase 2 and 3, safety must be confirmed. Yeah. So the completion of phase 1 concluded that all doses are tolerable. They were using medium, low, and high. Yeah. They move on to phase 2 to identify base dosing schedule for immunogenicity. They recruited beyond adult and elderly. They recruited children of age 3 to 11 to be part of the participants. Yeah? And this phase very much to look at, again, safety, but of course, looking at immunogenicity. Yeah? Which dose and a schedule that will give you both safety and immunogenicity. Okay? It was confirmed that 14 days apart for interval between the two doses were good enough that we should proceed into phase 3, which was done in Turkey, Brazil, and Indonesia. Okay? So in Turkey, the volunteers are all general population. General population meaning anybody in that country, volunteers, they are entitled to be participated in that trial. Yeah. But in Turkey, 10% of the volunteers are hospital workers. Yeah? But in Brazil, like I said earlier, more than 13,000 volunteers are all 100% hospital workers. From 16 hospitals, they are dealing daily with COVID-19 patients. Yeah. In Indonesia, the numbers are a lot lower. They recruited less than 2,000, only adults and elderly, because the objectives are different. They wanted to see lot consistency. So they were looking at different batch of vaccine, and they were looking at time-based, meaning they want to see beyond 6 months of study whether the vaccine are still giving good protection. Yeah. So just to confirm the vaccine are efficacious. Yeah. Of course, they're still also looking at the safety aspect of it. Chile recently started their study, recruiting 3,000 volunteers just to confirm again the efficacy on healthy professional only. Yeah. So the outcome are based on the efficacy data. Yeah, in Turkey, it was reported at 83.5% efficacy, simply meaning that if they would use this vaccine, the vaccine are able to reduce 83.3% chance of getting an infection. Yeah, reduce the numbers of infection within healthy population. But in Brazil, due to the risk of infection is higher, because these are the people who are dealing in the vaccine, in the COVID-19 environment. So the chance of them getting the infection is higher, end up with a lower calculated efficacy. More importantly is not just the infection, because we know that even though you are vaccinated, there's still chance that you still can get infection. Most important is the progression of the disease, whether you need medical hospitalization and so on. But in Brazil, 100% did not need hospitalization. 83% needs medical care, meaning they may have some symptoms, they may need some observation, but it stops there. Yeah, that 53% meaning they may get infection. 50%. Yeah. Okay, so Indonesia, like I said, more in quality and immunogenicity, confirmed that immunogenicity is very high at 96.2%, 97.8%, and 8.5%. So the ability of that vaccine to elicit immune response is still very, very good. Yeah. All right, next slide, please. So these are the data on clinical trial phase 1 and 2 in China, conducted in China. like I said, the focus was on safety and immunogenicity. 744 volunteers from the adults category, age 18 to 59. They were given a medium dose and high dose of the vaccine, okay, to look at the safety and efficacy. They also recruited 442 elderly from the age of 60 to 89 years old. Yeah. They were given the dose lower. They bring it lower to 300, and medium dose is 600 and 1,200 SU unit. And half were given placebo to confirm the elderly responded well, and also to look at the safety aspect of it. Yeah. Okay, because we're very concerned about the side effect. Yeah. And they have also recruited 552 volunteers from the children category, age 3 to 17. And again, 2 weeks back, they have concluded this data. And we are very proud to announce that the data on safety, efficacy, and quality for children are equally as good as for adult and elderly. So Sinovac China have now submitted the application to extend the vaccine for use for children. Once they have got that approved in China, we will use the same data to submit to MPRA. Yeah. So that one of the question earlier, whether from time to time we will submit additional data. Yes, Sinovac and PharmArea will submit this data to extend the use in children very soon, inshallah. Okay. Next. Okay, this data technical a bit. What we do upon the immunization, we look into the amount of antibody developed or generated in the volunteers. Clearly shown in this bar chart here. 2 vaccination programs were done, either 14 days apart or 28 days apart, into the age group of adult, in elderly, and in children. They were looking at different dose, low dose at 300, medium dose at 600, and high dose at 1,200. This vaccine, or the antigen, which is the whole virus of coronavirus, were detected by using ELISA. Yeah, so that 300, 600 SU is just internal unit, Sinovac unit. So basically, they are equivalent to about 3 micrograms, 6 micrograms, and 12 micrograms of viral particle in the formula. Okay. So in conclusion, even after 14 days apart, the antibody achieved above 90, almost 100%. Yeah, the antibody upon 14 days apart. After 28 days, the antibody in the volunteers in adult group reached about 100%. Yeah, in even after 28 days upon whole course of immunization is stabilized there. Okay, in elderly group, which they use 28 days apart for dose 1 and dose 2, very impressive amount of seroconversion rate of 99%. Yeah, for both medium and high dose. Okay, for children, again, after second dose, it reached almost 100% in terms of seroconversion. It confirmed that between 3 different dose, 3 different age group, and 3 different 2 different immunization days apart, they are all very good. Yeah, achieving the target of almost 100% seroconversion. Okay, based on this, they concluded that due to the emergency, that phase 3 trial should be done for 14 days apart. This is where only Sinovac in all vaccine manufacturers recommended the use as early as 14 days. But this data also suggests that even if the vaccine is to be given 20 days apart, they are still very good. Yeah, even better, slightly better than 14 days apart. So there's a lot of confusion. How is it to be given to the population? So in conclusion, I would like to say 14 days apart is recommended. It can be given up to 28 days apart. Yeah. Next slide, please. Okay, this data just to show the relative amount and geometric mean titer of antibody among the three groups. Yeah, how much antibody were actually generated upon complete two-dose regime of the vaccine to confirm that the amount of antibody is more than sufficient to give immunization protection. Next slide, please. Okay, I've explained this earlier. Phase 3, next. Half were given placebo, half. Okay, so the conclusion that I have also mentioned earlier in Turkey, all countries were given the same batch of vaccine made in China to confirm the efficacy and safety of the batch. In Turkey, 83%. In Indonesia, 65%, but they were very much to confirm lot consistency. They were using 3 different lots. In Chile, they have just started. The data that they have shared so far, very impressive, giving a very good protection and monoantibody. The best part is on safety profile. People are now talking not just about the efficacy, yeah, we're more concerned about the safety aspect of it. Yeah, in Brazil, yes. If you were to look at the overall data, it may say 50%, but this study was done in the most extreme clinical setting. 100% of the volunteers are hospital workers dealing daily with COVID patients, recruited from 16 different hospitals throughout the country. Next slide, please. Okay, this is to elaborate details on what it meant by result but trial in Brazil. Most importantly, we don't want to be hospitalized. Yeah, some people were telling like, oh, don't worry about COVID-19, they are more like flu. Yeah, in some way it's similar. Yeah, some people, very healthy young adult, they may get infected, but they do not have even symptoms. Some may end up with mild symptoms. So those with mild symptoms, these are the people who actually detected to be infected with lower efficacy for Sinovac, simply because they were exposed to this on daily basis. These are hospital workers in Brazil, but none of them require hospitalization. If we were to look at the WHO guideline when it comes to the clinical trial, the vaccinee and placebo were divided into equally numbers, yeah. And upon vaccination, they were rated based on the level of infection, yeah, the seriousness of infection, either 1 all the way to 10. 1 is if they are asymptomatic, 2 if they're very, very mild, but they're still confirmed by PCR test. Okay, 3 and 4, they may need a medical assistant to observe. Maybe they're having some headache, nausea, but they don't need hospitalization. They are manageable. They can still be at home. Yeah, but those moderate hospital, they need medical care, medical attention. But those who are above 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 being dead, yeah, death. So those are the ones that we really don't want. Even 5. So 3 and 4, nice not to have, but for Sinovac vaccine, the efficacy is up to 84%, which is very good. Yeah. Next. Okay. So for Pharmaniaga, we're getting this is government project. Actually, not directly. Our vaccine development program started in year 2018. Halfway through, we have this COVID-19 pandemic. Sinovac has always been our strategic partner for other vaccine, yeah, of which we will launch later. But since COVID-19 came into picture earlier, so we started getting the tech transfer for COVID-19. Through the arrangement by the government, it's more like G2G, through the support by KKM and MOSTI. Alhamdulillah, Pharmaniaga now started making vaccine COVID-19 locally. We are the first in the country to have such technology. We are proud. We are proud to say that we have received the bulk vaccine in February, witnessed by the minister's arrival at the airport, that we brought it into our plant in Puchong, our small volume injectable plant. This particular plant, GMP aspect-wise, a very high standard. This plant has been in operation since 2010. We received our EU GMP certification in 2013. It was re-audited in 2016. And again, this is one and only small volume injectable plant in the country which is compliant to European standards. Yeah. So you can see the picture of the COVID vaccine in solution. We're making single dose in vial. Storage-wise is very simple, 2 to 8. Distribution-wise also like any other vaccine under National Immunization Program or any vaccine for adults that we have registered in the country so far. The registration is very simple. Logistic-wise, Pharmanagar been doing this vaccine since 26 years ago. Yeah, so we've been doing that for the government. So manufacturing is something new for us. Distribution is something that we've done for the last 26 years. So when it comes to technology, Alhamdulillah, Pharmanagar is there now to support the country. We are obliged to make 12 million doses for Malaysian population. And then some picture at the warehouses and delivery to the vaccination center. Yeah, the first vaccination was done in Rembau, yeah, in March. Yeah. So next is the video, I think. Okay, the composition, like I said, is a 3 microgram dose of 6 SU unit, inactivated SARS-CoV antigen with excipients of aluminum hydroxide, sodium hydrogen phosphate, and all those general salts. Very pure formulation, very clean, and those not worry about halal, anything like that. I can confirm it's very safe formulation, proven technology. And indication, like I said, is be used for now registered for adult above 18 and onwards. In Turkey and in Brazil, they started using up to the elderly at the age of 94. Yeah, it's very safe. Yeah, because in that countries they started the vaccination program. They targeted the elderly first, so they started with people above 60 and moving down to the younger generation. So far, the data of which, like someone were asking if WHO will compile, they are also submitting that data on efficacy and adverse reaction to WHO, and that will be being monitored. Yeah. So the presentation, we have 40 vial of single dose vaccine packed into 40 pack carton and being distributed. But like I said, we have 2 registration approach. One, 100% manufactured in China. The other one manufactured 100%, no, I mean like fill and finish in Malaysia. The second registration in Puchong haven't got any registration approval yet. Okay, we're still under the completion of the stability program. Yeah, we will only be able to submit full data to MPRA by mid-April. After that, MPRA will review and please make dua that will be approved, so that 12 million doses for Malaysian population will be manufactured at the rate of 2 million doses per month from our plant in Puchong for Malaysian population, inshallah. Okay, next is the video. Yes, thank you. All right, so that's a video. So I hope give everybody, all audience, impression about what sort of technology transfer or our manufacturing capability or our involvement in COVID-19 vaccination program for the country. The first recipient of our vaccine was YPKJ. And now this vaccine is all approved in 27 countries. Yeah. Of course, the first 50 million were vaccinated, the frontliners. Next. Next slide, please. The last slide, I think. This is, after 27 countries, these are the people who were the recipient of the vaccine, the leaders of each country. So in terms of safety profile, I think they're quite good. Adverse reaction, no vaccine without any side effect. But like I said, we have to weigh between the risk and benefit. So the benefit definitely outweigh a lot more than the risk. Yeah. But of course, those who are under certain health condition, they should consult their doctors. Yeah. I believe we have a speaker from Indonesia later. They may share some data from Indonesia. But the Majlis Ulama and also regulatory and Islamic have certified that this particular vaccine is in the halal category. Yeah? Next. Okay, I be more than happy to answer any question. Thank you so much for listening.
Thank you so much, Dr. Badrul Hisham, for your insightful talk on Sinovac and the contract that is inked with Pharmaniaga. We have 4 questions.
Okay.
I'll combine question 1 and question 2 because they are related. So the first one is if the vaccine being diagnosed as COVID positive, the vaccinee, so the person who received the vaccine, being diagnosed as COVID positive after dose 1, would the vaccinee proceed for dose 2? And how such group patient being managed in a study?
Yeah, okay. For, like I explained it in the vaccination trial program, they were given 14 days apart. Then the full protection can only be achieved after 28 days from the first vaccination, first dose. Yeah. Unfortunately, some people may be exposed, they may get some infection because their body haven't developed enough antibody to give protection. Even clinically, then even if anybody have been getting full vaccination, they still have a risk of getting infection. It's just that most likely they may not progress into disease. They may still get some early symptoms. So the recommendation is for them to just proceed with the second dose. Like I said, even those who completed second dose, upon completion 28 days, they may still get an infection, but chances are they may not progress into disease. Yeah.
Okay, so any dropout after second dose?
The under vaccination program? That vaccination program is actually controlled by the government that you should get full course of 2 doses. Yeah, because 1 dose may not give you good protection.
Okay.
Because it has to be according to the clinical trial done, that data to support how effective is the vaccine. Then we have to receive 2 full doses.
Okay. So the second question is that, Doctor, can you comment further on the safety profile of COVID-19 vaccine for pregnant women and women who's breastfeeding as well?
Okay, this is a common question. A lot of people were asking if it's safe enough to receive a vaccine if they're breastfeeding or intend to get pregnant or in pregnancy. Due to the emergency trial or development of this vaccine, pregnant or those intend to get pregnant or breastfeeding mother were eliminated from participating. I don't think any vaccine manufacturers involved them in this study. But these are additional data like what someone was asking for full registration that we must we must support for full registration. Yeah, this data is not developed yet, unless later upon mass vaccination around the world that we will get this kind of data to support full registration. But I wouldn't comment other types of vaccine because I do not have access to the data. But for Sinovac, yes, they were not part of the clinical trial study, but this kind of vaccine was done, whole inactivated vaccine were tested for pregnant mother and lactating mother. Yeah, it was safe. But for this particular COVID-19, there's no data to support, to prove, to confirm it's actually safe. So we would recommend them to delay for now.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so one last question I'll take, and we know that there are new strands of virus. So would this vaccine, Sinovac, cover those new ones?
Yeah, again, a lot of question related to new strain coming up. Then how good are they compared to the developed vaccine? I can just say I'm not promoting, but whole inactivated vaccine are basically you're using the entire spectrum of the structure. Yeah. Compared to the variant or mutant may happen certain part of the spike protein. Yeah. So, but unless all vaccine manufacturers are now compiling data to confirm their vaccine formula are good to give protection to different variants. But generally, for whole inactive vaccine, they are far better than a specific recombinant technology for spike protein, because it's a whole. They may give better protection for certain variant. Yeah, but like I said, this data is not being published yet. They are still under compilation and testing at Sinovac.
Okay. All right. So we have come to the end of the first session. On behalf of the UiTM Faculty of Pharmacy, I would like to thank both speakers, Dr. Badu Hisham and Dr. Jazlina, for their insightful talks.